Let's go live everywhere else. Here we go. Woo! All right, friends. I have what I think is going to be a really important message for you today. Hey, Mary. Good morning. Sierra. Good morning, Mustafa. Good afternoon, Kylie. Good morning. Great to see you. Oh, my friends. We are talking today about how to trust yourself. Patty, good morning. Patty, by the way, I was just cracking up over your latest post about no alcohol in August. I love you. Laura, good morning. Good morning. So, we're talking today about how to trust yourself. And as always, I want to invite you, the questions you have, the ahas that show up, pop them in the comments. I want to speak with you directly. Kalua, good morning. And here's part of why I felt like this was the topic for today. I know by nature of you being here that you want and you desire a life that is different from what you see most people around you having, and you want something that's maybe different from what you saw your parents having. You want something that's different from what most of the world wants, and you also probably think and operate differently than a lot of society does as well. Rita, good afternoon. Laura, good morning. So good to see you. And whether that's you see people around you living in scarcity, and you've tried it their way and that just doesn't feel good to you. Thank you so much for the hearts. Or those style of selling that you've seen taught and that you've been told is the only way to do it just doesn't feel right to you, but you feel like there's no other way, and so you've got to kind of like disconnect from your integrity or your way of doing things in order to make money. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. And with that being said, though, doing things differently and thinking for yourself, this is really kind of the message of today, is to learn how to think for yourself. It requires a level of trust in yourself that oftentimes I feel like we're born with and we often lose over the course of growing up. Then possibly, at least for me, it was like through my 20s, I really disconnected from that inner guidance system. I disconnected from my own power, tried to do things the way that everybody else was doing them, and ended up in many ways feeling very broken, feeling very empty inside as well. So let me know if you're excited for this topic today too. I love the hearts coming, and give me like a yes, give me a like, is this something that's been on your mind? I feel like just as a community, it seems like the topics always seem to be aligned. Angela, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about how to trust yourself today. But let me know if this is something that's been on your mind. Patty's saying yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. And as always, if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, pop me a comment. That's how I know. That's how I know you're here. And I want to speak with you and coach you directly as well. Oh, Cara, you're saying so excited for this. And good morning, by the way. Yes, because I know that by the nature of you being here, you're doing big things in the world. And maybe you've already made a lot of quantum leaps, or maybe you're feeling called to make a quantum leap. But I'm telling you, it's going to require a level of trust in yourself, and it's going to require a deepening of that trust. And when I think back, let me just see real quick. How do I delete someone from the live? Can anyone tell me? Let's see here. 1 second. Okay, great. I think we should be good. Sorry, everyone, for the lurker. Okay. So I want to get, because I really want the specialness of this space. So let me get back into, okay. So every decision in my life that has really paid off has involved having massive trust in myself and going against what most people would say would be the smart or the safe or the responsible thing to do. And just, I think about two key moments in my life that stand out. One is what felt very scary in my 20s, but getting a divorce and leaving this situation that was just really not good in so many ways. And I was so scared of the judgment of what was going to be on the other side. And I was scared of the repercussions, and I was scared that maybe I would never meet somebody again. But we reach a point where trying to do it everybody else's way and looking outside for guidance, we see the results that that brings. And for me at that point, I had looked to everybody else for approval on the situation that I was in. And I was left with being deeply unhappy, having panic attacks, like, breaking out in hives. I mean, like the physical stuff too that manifested was just not, not cute and not fun. But to, making that decision to trust myself, that I needed to step out of that relationship that I take full responsibility for. I was a co-creator in it, but stepping out was, had I not done that, I would not be now married to this amazing man, Jason, and we wouldn't have our son. And that was like, I know you have stories like that. I know you have experiences like that in your life where you can look back to a time where you trusted yourself and you did the opposite of what you thought you needed to do to be liked, respected, safe, loved, etc., and how it paid off. Thank you for the hearts. Let me just check the comments here. Rita saying, trust in myself has been so important and so scary. Kind of the theme here is take what the rest of the world would do and do the opposite. Like if you really want a powerful result in your life, take what the rest of the world would do and do the opposite. Let me check from Angela, taking the power back from all the people who think they know what's best for you. Oh my gosh, right? And I find, and I've been that person who's like, I know in my own life when I haven't felt happy with the circumstances, I've wanted to give advice to everybody else because it's like, well, I don't feel happy here, but maybe I can control someone else. So just know, like, if there's a lot of people, if you're getting a lot of outside advice and guidance that's unsolicited from other people, one, you're not in your power, because that's part of how you know you're not in your power is you're looking outside of yourself. That's a very fast way to know you're out of alignment. And number two, if people are willingly like pouring advice over you in waves, then you got to kind of check the source. And usually they're not very happy with their own situation. So it feels like something that they can control by giving you advice. Wendy, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Let me check comments. Kara saying, I need more help with this. Well, Kara, my love, you are in the right place today, my friend. You are in the right place. And even, the story that I've shared, Angela saying, look within, not without. Exactly. Like even, hiring my coach last year for $50,000, which was half of what I'd made all that year. Like that felt terrifying. And I knew that if I had asked for a lot of guidance or feedback from other people, that they would have all said it was a terrible idea. But I knew, like, when you trust yourself, when you look inside, you don't actually want to talk a lot with other people about what you're doing. I don't know if you've noticed this. It's kind of more like a calm, quiet, like, yes, like just, I trust and I'm looking inside. And I feel in my body and my bones that this is the next right move for me. And you don't actually want to talk about it a lot because you don't want to kill it. It's kind of like when you've got that idea that's it's like a baby that's in the process of being in the womb, that's being born. And if you expose it to too much too soon, like it can't be born, right? Like we take the life out of it. So when you're in that calm confidence and you have that knowing that you need to do something that would defy what most conventional wisdom would say to do, it's kind of this quiet, still, calm, just knowing. Let me check comments. Wendy, you had a real mindset shift after our group call. Oh, that's a beautiful. Well, I'd love to hear more about it if you want to share in the comments. It was so great to have you on there, and it makes me so happy. Jan, oh, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. And so this, start rounding out that story. And I think everyone who's here live, like, the end of that story, but that we would not be here today. I would not have created some of the most beautiful, powerful shifts in my life had I not trusted my inner guidance to do that. And I know in your life, there are situations like that too, that are happening right now for you. But this comes into play in sales too. And I know each of you who's here, you're either an entrepreneur or you're in sales, you're in charge of making money, right? You're in charge of making money. And you probably feel called to do things differently. Thank you so much for the hearts. I love the community of all of this. You're probably here because you want to do things differently, because maybe it doesn't feel good to you to try to like strong arm somebody into buying from you. And maybe it doesn't feel good to you to feel like you've got to chase and like push and force. because you feel out of alignment with your natural power, but you've been told very often what is told is that to sell, you've got to do things one specific way. You've got to say things one specific way. You got to push and falsely manufacture pain for people to buy from you. And it's just not the case. So whether today you're looking to deepen your ability to trust yourself because you want to learn to sell in a different way, or maybe there's something bigger that you're feeling called to do and it feels scary, and you know that, parents, society, whatever would say that's not the quote unquote safe thing to do, you're in the right place. And I just want to address safety for a moment, okay? Because if we pause and think about this, you are on a giant rock hurtling through outer space, praying that you hold on, praying that the law of gravity holds you on. There's nothing safe. Like if safety is your goal, my friend, you're going to live a very unfulfilled life. Like there's nothing that's not the goal of being here. So I would really invite everyone to drop the goal of safety, because no one's getting out alive. Again, when you think about what's really going on here, it's kind of crazy anyway. And if you try to live your life that way, then you're on the defense and you're constantly like this and you're playing so small. That's not why you're here. You're here to experience fullness, expansion, and to feel what it's like to really be yourself, which means operating in alignment and trusting your own inner guidance system over what society and the world tells you have to do to be quote unquote, safe or successful. I'm going to pause and just look at comments here. Laura, love that internal affirmation being the quiet whisper from Angela. Yes, Angela is brilliant. By the way, y'all, she's on the She Sells team. If you're not familiar, Angela, you're like my guru. My operations guru. I love having you here. Wendy saying, short answer, felt how to reconnect with a lost part of myself and my worth from the call yesterday. Wow. Well, that's worth an hour and a half together, right? That's amazing. Rita, thank you for the hearts. Angela, no one's getting out. I mean, that's not getting out. If we really think about like what's happening here, again, safety is not the goal. So experiencing the fullness of yourself, I would invite you that is the goal, like consistent expansion of who you are. And we have to learn to look inside to experience that. And, I was having a conversation. I'm actually going to have this client on the podcast sometime in September, October. But one of our clients in the 10K Club is a just beautiful, powerful woman based out of the UK, and is, high up in software sales and is also launching her own business. And she shared a story with me recently about landing a mega deal for her company, for the software company she works for. And she said she did it differently than how probably the traditional sales model would tell you to do. And she incorporated a lot of the principles that we teach and believe in at She Sells. Relationship building, like monitoring the timing of things, knowing when it's time to push and knowing when it's time to sit back and let things be created for you and with you. And she ended up closing this mega deal. But she said it was really by tapping into her feminine and trusting herself of when it was time to really relationship build with the client and go deeper. And she was getting pressure from her higher ups to close it, right? Because that's so much of what is taught, especially my experience has been in the corporate sales world. It's like we live and die by the calendar. And if something, we got to close it by this date or else. It's like, or else what? I can't tell you how many deals I lost when I was in corporate sales because I pushed something too soon because I felt like I had to hit a number. How many of you have experienced that or have created these deadlines for yourself because you hang your worth on, if I don't close X amount by X date, then I'm not worthy, right? Because that's a lot of the even subliminal messaging that's communicated in our business world. And that's not the way to powerfully create. And so she had to kind of hold her leadership at bay and say, trust me, like, I know what I'm doing here. Thank you for the hearts. Like, I know what I'm doing here. I know, like, I'm doing this. It's going to close, but I need more time on it. And because she did that, not only did it close, not only was it a far easier closing process, but there's about $1 million in upside that's going to close as well from this. And so we get to really trust ourselves with the process. Okay. Whether it's in sales or whether it's in life and business. Let me just check comments. Sierra, that darn calendar, you gave me such a mindset shift when you said I can create my own schedule and timeline. Isn't it empowering to think for yourself? Right? Which is kind of the theme of this morning. Like, isn't it empowering to make your own rules about how much money you require and by when and for what and how it's going to come in and what you require your experience of it to be as well? Like, you get to make your own rules here, my friend. You just give yourself permission. No one's going to give you permission. Angela's saying our worth is not tied to our sales, right? And here's the thing is that when we learn to feel worthy, regardless of external circumstances, like wherever you are at right now as you watch this, whether you're coming off your best sales month or your worst sales month, whether you're starting your business, whether you're established, I don't care. Focus on this first. Focus on this first. Focus on feeling worthy first. Focus on feeling, I'm so glad this message is resonating today. Focus on feeling whole. Focus on feeling complete, because your outer world will always shift to be a mirror of how you personally are showing up. It's just a matter of time. But if you look outside too much, whether you look at your bank account to tell you whether you can or can't do something, whether you look at your sales pipeline to tell you what will or is not going to happen this month, you're just going to get more of the same when we just look at, because this is all everything outside. It's just a result of your past thinking, feeling, and actions. But guess what, my friend? You're a new person today. You're a new person today. You've got new ideas. You've got new energy. You've got new inspiration. And you don't have to wait for the next morning to be new either. You can be new in this moment, right now, right now, right now. Every time you reconnect with your inner guidance system, which is always leading you to what's best for you. Okay. Thank you for the hearts. I love you all. I'm so grateful to be able to have this conversation with you. So I wanted to share a couple of tips for how do you start to trust yourself more? And it really is just practice. But one of the best ways, and I love this. I don't know if it was Marie Forleo. I think it was Marie Forleo who I heard this from years ago. And I thought, gosh, what a great way to test. We've got to learn to reconnect with our bodies. And this is part of why I'm so passionate about, for my clients, doing that healing work to recreate that connection with your body. Because oftentimes when, like my own story was, I disconnected from my body. Oftentimes when women first come into our community at She Sells, there's some part of them that's disconnected from their body, whether through past trauma, past challenges, circumstances, whatever. And so we've got to learn to reconnect, because your body is a powerful tool. And so it will tell you, and again, you don't have to worry about what's right for anybody else, just what's right for you. It will tell you whether a choice is right for you or not. And the way you can check is, let's say you've got two different paths you could go down, two different choices, right? A or B. I want you to get very calm and still in a quiet place and think about choice A. And what would it be like to go down that path? What would that, and just kind of take yourself there mentally. And when you think about that, how do you feel an expansion or a constriction in your body, like in your heart space? This is why it's also really important to learn. That's why I love Joe Dispenza's energy center meditation, because it helps you really reconnect with your heart center, because your heart will tell you if it expands when you think about that choice, that means it's right for you. If it constricts, if you feel though tightness, that's your body's way of telling you that it's not right, that it's not the right path for you. Now, and then you think about choice B and it'll give you constriction or expansion. And if you try it the first time and you don't really feel much, it's okay. Keep practicing. It will tell you. Like the first few times I tried that, I didn't get a lot because I was so disconnected from my body. But now it's like, boom. And you just trust it. Like you just have to trust it, because usually what will be right for you it's not going to be the responsible or safe or conservative choice usually, because you've guarded yourself too long. You've accepted way too little for yourself, because you've thought that you could only have this much money, this much experience, so you're playing by a very limited rule book, and that's how your brain thinks. But your heart knows what's right for you. Your heart always knows what's right for you. And so you got to learn to tap in here because it'll tell you and you'll be guided in terms of what's next. So that's a beautiful exercise you can do anytime to check in with what's the right path for you personally. Let me check here. Oh, Laura on LinkedIn, I'm so glad you're here and this is speaking to you. Good morning. Cara, this is such perfect timing for me. Good, good, good. Yes, check, because I know you've got, and you know what to do. And we talked this week, you know what to do, but you can check in with your body and it will always tell you. But it will defy what you think is the smart or logical thing. But I'm telling you, if you follow this instead of this, you're just going to get more of the same or worse than what you've been getting. Okay, so we got to check in here. The next thing that I would say is notice how you're being. I'm trying to think of a better way to say this. Are you looking outside a lot? Like, do you have a choice that you're looking to make? And are you asking everybody under the sun their opinion? Like I said before, that is a direct sign that you are out of alignment and that whatever answers you get from other people are not actually going to be your best answer. Okay. So are you looking outside for or inside for guidance? That's how you know. Now, I'm in coaching and mentoring. I have coaches and mentors. Like, I'm a big fan of that relationship, but it's a different energetic. Like, I know for myself, I notice, and I've learned to catch this sooner, so I don't do it as much anymore. But let's say there's something that's going on and I'm like, oh, I got to ask my mom for her opinion, or I got to ask my husband for his opinion, or I got it. Like, that for me is my sign. Like, I know I don't feel grounded in my body when I'm doing that. And I know, like, now I kind of know to just stop it. And it's like, go for a walk, go meditate, just stop thinking about it for a while, but just check in with yourself. And there's no judgment on it, but just know if you're asking everyone outside of you for their advice and their feedback on what you're doing, you're not in your power. You've disconnected from that internal guidance system. So what I am a fan of is, when you've got a choice to make, check in with yourself first and feel it and use that tool that we just talked about, checking in with your body. And then, go to your coach or your mentor and ask, hey, here's what I'm getting. I'd love to know your perspective on this. I'd love to know your thoughts. But when you go to someone, number one, still always think for yourself. So always check it against, does this feel right for me or not? And when you're working with a coach or a mentor who's high enough up, they will probably push the boundaries of what you were originally thinking. So be humble and be open-minded that, wow, maybe there's another level of thinking that I just haven't had access to yet with this, which is also very powerful. But then just the people you're asking for guidance from, just check to make sure they have the life you want. Like, that's really my litmus test. That's why I hire coaches and mentors who have the life that I want, because I want to know what their guidance system would say for something. Like, I check with myself, but if I'm getting guidance from an outside source, they need to have the life that I want. That's why, thank you for the hearts. I'm glad this is resonating. That's why we got to learn to step in and look inside first. Allison, good morning. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Priya on LinkedIn. Oh, it's so good to see you. Good morning. Well, good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon / evening for you. And when I say, making sure that the people you're asking for advice from have the life you want, not just from a financial standpoint. I mean, yes, from a financial standpoint, you want to typically be hiring, especially if you're looking for business coaching, you want to be hiring coaches and mentors who, are financially beyond where you are and where you want to be. But also, are they happy? Are they fulfilled? Do they have a beautiful family life? Are they healthy? Like, all of those things. When I say they have the life you want, like, true wealth is not just your bank account, it's every aspect of your life. So make sure that the people you're asking for feedback from have all of that. Okay. Natalia, good morning. Mary, guidance from the person who has the life you want is critical. Exactly. Which is why we must learn to get in the circles and be like, we do what we need to do to get in that environment, whether it's hiring a coach or a mentor, going to events, like whatever. Be very mindful of who you're getting feedback from. And then, I said this before, but this is kind of a good rule of thumb in general in life, is like, do the opposite of what most people would do. Like in whatever situation. And this is not coming from a place of being better than, okay? It's really not. Like that's not powerful creating energy either. But again, most people around you are in some sort of struggle or scarcity or illness or whatever. And that's because the way most of the world thinks is we've just been taught a bunch of stuff that's not true. We've been taught to live in scarcity. We've been taught to live in lack. We've been taught that we can't have it all. And so I find myself sometimes it's easy because I think very differently. And you all do, like we all think the same, right? Like we're here, we all think the same here in this community, but it is different from what a lot of the world would say. And we can make ourselves wrong and be like, well, that's not what my dad would have done, or that's not what so-and-so would have done. But again, you have to look at for who you're comparing yourself to and thinking you should be acting like them. Do they have the life you want? And if not, you don't want to think like them and you don't want to make decisions like them. And it's not making anyone wrong. Everyone's here having their own experience. But think for yourself. Like think for yourself with all of this. And it's just a process of practice. It's just a process of checking in. So if you had to do one thing as a result of today, thank you so much for the hearts. I would say, like, do that exercise, right? Weigh the two options. When I think about choice A, does it feel expansive or constrictive? Then when I think about choice B, does that feel expansive or constrictive? Your body will tell you, and just practice it. And then just do that. Do the one that feels expansive because your body's telling you that's going to lead to your greater expansion. And that's what you're here for. Again, it's not to be safe. You're not here for that. You're here to expand. You're here to have joy. You're here to have fun, and you're here to bless other people's lives along the way. And no one gets blessed when you constrict, when you play small, and when you try to do what you think the boxes that you're supposed to fit in. Okay, whew, that's your soapbox for today. Sierra Betty, good morning, and then Sierra Moran, yes, that's my key. And marketing tactics going against the norm. Exactly. Yes, that is it, my loves. All right, so that's what I got for you today. If you have questions on any of this, send me a DM. I'm so grateful, so grateful to be able to join each of you morning, afternoon, whatever time it is when you're joining, and just trust yourself today. Trust yourself. We've got some beautiful things coming up as a community. We've got the Sedona retreat that's going to be open for registration in the next week or two in December. It's going to be beautiful. Got private retreats opening up in September and October. So send me a DM if you want, more information on those. But any way I can serve you, help you, let me know. I am grateful for you. And tomorrow we are talking about a very, very, very cool universal law, the law of perpetual transmutation. So if you've ever struggled with visualization, and if you've ever been like, I'm not clear on how this creates my outer reality, join, because I'm going to teach about exactly how it works and how you can learn to create everything you want here first, and then how you actually turn that into your physical reality. Okay. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Patty, I'm glad I spoke to you this morning. It's great to see you, and wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful day. Mwah. See you soon.